Hello and good afternoon. My name's Don Arleth and you're watching World News coming to you live from Warsaw. On Tuesday, the European Commission will present its 2025 enlargement package, an annual report assessing the progress made by candidate countries to join the EU. So now let's get some insight into the European report card of the frontrunners and those furthest from joining the bloc. Our correspondent in Brussels, Kaja, explains.
Well, it's report card day in Brussels. Those countries who have been doing their reform homework over the last few weeks and months, if not years, will be getting an assessment from the European Commission as to how close or how far they are from joining the European Union. We understand praise will be leveled at Montenegro, doing very well, that very small country hoping to join the EU by 2027. Also doing well is Albania. We've heard that Marta Kos, the Enlargement Commissioner, will have warm words for Tirana and their progress and reforms towards membership of the European Union. Of course, for all these countries, it involves reforming their judicial system, their rule of law, to make sure that their legal text, their body of laws, is aligned with the European Union's. So too is their economy. There is so much for these countries to change. That's why some others have struggled. Certainly Bosnia not making the progress it could have hoped for, and Serbia will be very harshly criticized by Marta Kos, the Enlargement Commissioner, for its not just lack of progress, but backsliding. Speaking of backsliding, also bad marks for Georgia, now in freefall when it comes to its hopes of joining the European Union. Two left, a little tricky, Moldova, Ukraine, no progress there. They will be congratulated for their reforms, but Hungary still blocking their accession. Either way, all these countries have all eyes on Brussels. In Brussels, I'm Kaja for TVP World.
Now to one of those countries lagging behind. Bosnian leaders should move to join the EU while the window of opportunity is still open, according to the EU's top diplomat, Kaja Kallas. Kallas also paid a visit to Sarajevo after the UN Security Council voted to prolong the European peace mission in the country on Friday.
30 years after the Dayton Peace Agreement, the European Union will keep doing everything we can to prevent any security vacuum in the country. We will not let history repeat. The international powers can be faded out when the local authorities are ready to make decisions. And that's why we really tried to convince the authorities in Bosnia and Herzegovina that it is their country, they need to adopt decisions, and then also there is no need for the international intervention. Windows of enlargement of the European Union are very rarely open, but one is open now. Your political leaders have to grab this opportunity, or the window of opportunity will close again.
Ukraine has shown remarkable commitment in its bid for EU membership. That's what the European Commission is expected to say in its draft enlargement report. However, not all areas of reform are complete, and a long road still lies ahead for Kyiv to join the European family.
While acknowledging progress on reforms, the European Commission will warn that Ukraine needs to strengthen judicial independence, curb organized crime, and increase protections for civil society. The Commission is set to rule that Ukraine has met the conditions to open 3 out of 6 EU accession clusters required for a state to be deemed ready to join the bloc. At the same time, the Commission expects Kyiv to meet the remaining conditions to open the rest of the clusters by the end of the year. However, despite the upcoming report's positive outlook, no clusters are expected to be opened soon, as Hungary remains the only blocker of Ukraine's bid to join the EU.
Now, moving on from enlargement, more Ukrainian drone attacks have damaged a key petrochemical plant deep inside of Russia overnight and reportedly taken out power substations, causing blackouts.
The head of the Bashkortostan region posted on Telegram that the water treatment works partially collapsed at the Sterlitama chemical facility, which lies 1,500 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. Ukraine has recently ramped up long-range drone attacks on Russian energy and industrial facilities. Elsewhere, the Kyiv Post reports that a fire broke out at an electrical substation in the southwestern Volgograd region on Monday evening following a drone attack. Power cuts reportedly affected the town of Frolovo and nearby areas. And in the western Kursk region, the news site reports that a Ukrainian strike on a substation cut power supplies to more than 16,000 consumers.
Ukraine is still around 750 million euros short of the 2 billion it requires for gas purchases this winter. However, the EU has pledged a little bit more. This is according to President Zelensky, who spoke to reporters on Monday evening.
At this point, we understand that we are short of about 750 million out of the 2 billion we discussed in relation to gas. Just now, President Ursula said that we will receive an additional 127 million euros in support. We are grateful for this. After that, our Minister of Energy took part in the meeting of the G7 energy ministers, and we received support everywhere, from Canada, Italy, Germany and other countries as well.
2 Russian citizens whom Poland accepted as political refugees are accused of actually working with Russian intelligence. Files from the year-long investigation reveal that the married couple in question collected information about employees of the Polish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as well as one of the government's academic exchange programs.
2 Russian citizens accused of spying for Moscow were caught by the Polish Internal Security Agency. According to the case files, an encrypted flash drive sent by Igor R. and his wife Irina R. contained data on people supporting Russian oppositionists in Poland. Igor was also supposed to describe officials from the Polish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, people involved in Poland's academic exchange program, as well as teachers from the University of Silesia, where he studied computer science and received a roughly €1,200 scholarship per month. During the investigation, the Russian collaborator admitted that he attempted to pass the information to Russian intelligence, but the package was never picked up. The court proceedings against the Russian citizens will start December 8th, and if proven guilty of espionage, the pair will face a sentence ranging from 8 years to lifetime in prison.
Now to a group of some 20 veterans have spent the past 2 months training to detect and safely remove mines in Kyiv. The program, organized by the Unconquered Foundation, is supported by the Slovenian government and offers free courses and future employment for its graduates.
Demining is much harder than mining, but it's quite a safe process. It's not that difficult to learn because it's a familiar topic. These are military munitions and certain types of mines, so it's easy to remember. In this case, we use interactive mock-ups, mines with signal systems. About 30 to 35% of the time is spent on theory, and everything else is purely practical fieldwork. There are mistakes. During today's training, I set off a tripwire. It was set up differently than usual. We have a tricky sapper here. The hardest thing is the monotony. You slowly cut the grass, carefully look around, making sure there's nothing there. That's probably the hardest part of all.
The Slovenian government supported this initiative. They are providing assistance through Slovenian aid and partnerships because helping veterans is one of their development priorities. We have already started meetings with mine action operators in the middle of the course. They are ready to employ veterans.
Romania has signed an agreement with the Netherlands to purchase 18 F-16 fighter jets for the symbolic price of just €1. The new aircraft will be used for training pilots from NATO countries and Ukraine.
As noted by the Romanian defense minister, the purchase is an important step in the development of the European F-16 training center in Furthest. The facility has become a regional training hub for NATO and Ukrainian pilots. The Romanian official added that this step also brings closer the integration of F-35 fighter jets into the country's air force. Meanwhile, the Dutch ambassador to Romania stated that the purchase shows just how closely both countries are working to ensure security of NATO's eastern flank.
Investment in a new deep-water port for Poland has been announced. The Cape Pomerania project will be one of the biggest maritime investments in decades, boost trade capacity, and strengthen Poland's role in logistics.
Poland is betting big on deep-sea ports. The city of Świnoujście in western Pomerania on the coast of the Baltic Sea is moving ahead with Cape Pomerania, following revisions to the project prepared by the previous government. The country's deputy infrastructure minister made the official announcement at a conference on Monday.
We are now carrying out this investment in an improved form, one that will be profitable for the port and most beneficial for Poland's maritime economy.
The Cape Pomerania port, led by the Szczecin and Świnoujście Seaports Authority, will include a deep-water container terminal capable of handling even the world's largest ships. The roughly €500 million project, fully financed by the Polish government, will expand Poland's coastline by 186 hectares through land reclamation and add 3 kilometers of new quays, while the terminal will accommodate up to 3 vessels at once. The port's 17-meter depth will make it competitive with facilities in Gdańsk and other major hubs in northern Europe.
This port is a symbol of our ambitions, our capabilities, and the growing importance of the maritime economy within Poland's national economy.
A new transport corridor will also link the port to inland road and rail routes. Scheduled for completion by 2029, the Cape Pomerania port is meant to be a strategic long-term investment in Poland's economic, energy, and military security.
And that concludes this edition of World News. Thank you for joining us this morning and this afternoon. Have a great day. We'll see you next time. Bye.